So I'm the communication officer of a development organization located in Somalia. Um, Before I get into how we've been able to utilize films to promote peace in Somalia, I'd like to first give you a small and brief overview of the local context in which we work. For those of you who are not aware of the conditions in Somalia. Since 1991, a civil war broke out, and thousands of people have been internally displaced and countless casualties. That's the environment that the organization that I work for is currently engaged in, promoting peace and progress. In terms of Puntland, as the moderator stated, thank you. In 1998, this was the first federal state that was established. It's in the northeast territories of Somalia. It's relatively stable, but the security situation is still extremely fragile, with elements such as terrorist organizations and so forth working there. All right, so that's the security situation. In 2010, the organization that I work for, PDRC, set up a unit called the Mobile and Audio Visual Unit. It's basically an innovative tool to utilize film forums and film-based discussions for communities who live in isolated, remote rural areas. So we hold these film forums. We invite different aspects of the community to come together, and they speak about their concerns and the issues that they're faced with. We document these meetings and these film forums, produce these documentaries, and give it to the international community as well as the government. I'd like to show you a quick video of how MAVU works, so that you can get a better understanding of it.
waad aragtaan qalabkan iyo waxaan halkan idinku soo fadhiinay waxaad ka daawan doontaan caawa dhowr barnaamij aan ugu talagalnay 4 degmo oo ay jabiila ka mid tahay marka caawa waxaan idiin soo bandhigi doonaa film yar aan ka sameynay wacyigelinta burcadbadeeda saamaynta ay ku yeelatay dalka gudihiisa iyo saamaynta ay caalamka ku yeelatay wax yar aan ka sameynay baan iyadana idin tusi doonaa.
So that's basically what MAVU is. It's comprised of a mobile cinema, a projector, a few laptops, a few technicians, and a mixer, and a hardtop vehicle. So we travel district to district in some of the most remote areas that you can possibly imagine, with no hotels or basic commodities or social services. And we set up our equipment hooked up to a generator, since most of these places don't have electricity. And we conduct these film forums for these communities. I'd like to also show you a few photographs of different different film forums that we've been able to conduct. Let's see. This is at a school. The guy on the far right is the lead researcher. Unfortunately, he is not able to be with us today, but As you can see, that's what Mavu is about. So now that you have a general concept of the local environment and what we do, I'd like to also give you a specific case study called the Ruckle Conflict. For about 5 years, a location called Ruckle District, at this location there was a clan conflict between, let's say, Clan A and Clan B. As a result of this conflict, over 100 people were murdered, destruction of property, the worst possible conditions that you can imagine. The government tried to intervene, as well as traditional conflict resolution mechanisms such as elders and so forth, religious leaders, but they were unsuccessful in their efforts. Once the Mavu team heard about the situation, we dispatched the team. We went to the location of Clan A, and we held a film forum. At this film forum, we recorded Clan A's aspirations for peace with the feuding clan. Sorry about that. And we recorded this message. Then we traveled to Clan B, and we held another film forum and showed them the message of peace. Then we did the same thing, recorded messages of peace from Clan B and went back to Clan A, and we kept on going back and forth, holding film forums and showing them these different messages of peace. This ended up becoming the catalyst to bring about peace for both these communities after 5 years of total conflict. So that's the power of film in Somalia. Later on, once we were able to somehow get a basic understanding between these two communities, we held one film forum, and we were able to bring both these clans together for the first time in 5 years. So if you can imagine, husbands and wives, for example, from Clan A and Clan B, who were separated because of the conflict, after 5 years, we're now reuniting at a film forum. Brothers and sisters, friends, people who haven't seen each other for a very long time. So this was a very historical day for the people of Ruckle, and it was a symbol that films can possibly be something to bring about peace in Somalia. At that film forum, the youth of both these clans came together, and they organized a youth peace committee. This youth peace committee, to this very day, is actively involved in sustaining the peace for both these communities. They requested that Mavu return and hold a youth peace event, a friendly football match. And so we did that. I'll show you a brief video of that football match. I made sure all my videos were less than 1 minute. Don't want to bore you. So that was the youth peace match that we were able to organize. These individuals came together at a Mavu Film Forum. The two guys hugging over here, it's important to note that they were the pioneers of the youth peace group. The gentleman in the left with the white shirt, his older brother was murdered from the opposing clan, and yet, instead of avenging his brother's death, he spoke with the other gentleman at a Mavu forum, and the other gentleman's uncle and cousin was murdered as a result of the Ruckle Conflict. And both these guys came together at that film forum, and they organized one of the most powerful youth peace groups in Puntland. Mavu film forums have been effective in other aspects as well. During the height of piracy, most people, when they hear about Somalia, certain things come to mind, and because of certain incidents over the last, 5 or 6 years, piracy is one of them. So during the peak of piracy, Mavu traveled to coastal districts that were known to be harboring pirates or welcoming those activities. They conducted a wide-scale awareness campaign. This was the beginning of coastal districts expelling pirates from those communities. We gained a lot of international recognition at that time. There was a German news team that came, so I dug into the archives and found, I guess, a 1-minute clip. Since we're in Germany, I thought I can present that as well.
Und Puntland versteht sich als halbautonome Provinz und gilt bis heute als wichtiges Rückzugsgebiet der Piraten. Und dort im Norden Somalias halten viele junge Männer Pirat noch immer für einen Traumberuf. Dagegen sollen jetzt Abschreckung und Aufklärung helfen. Wie? Das zeigt uns Peter Schreiber.
Als Teil eines Friedensprojekts geht eine Videogruppe in Puntland mitten rein in die Piratendörfer. Mit dabei Generatoren, eine aufblasbare Leinwand und ein Aufklärungsfilm. Er zeigt, wie die Boote der Piraten in Brand gesteckt werden. Mit einer Kamera nimmt Isahak die Kommentare auf und mischt sie in seinem kleinen Schneideraum mit Videos internationaler Nachrichtensender. Dass somalische Piraten auch in anderen Ländern, einige sogar in Deutschland, inhaftiert sind, wissen viele nur vom Hörensagen. Dazu zeigt er Bilder der internationalen Kriegsschiffe, die vor der Küste patrouillieren. Seitdem sind die Piraten nur noch selten erfolgreich. In einigen Dörfern, wo wir unsere Videos gezeigt haben, haben die Menschen die Piraten vertrieben. Sie wollten mit ihnen nichts mehr zu tun haben. Ohne Rückhalt in der Bevölkerung aber können die nicht agieren. Und das passierte nicht nur einmal, sondern in mehreren Dörfern an der Küste. 2,5 Jahre war ich im Gefängnis, erzählt Abdikatir Khanaf nach der Filmvorführung. Ich war jung, wollte viel Geld, eine schöne Frau und eine große Villa.
Ein Podcast von das-erste.de.
So that's basically what we do. Before I conclude, I also want to highlight the specific environment in terms of the capability of the lack of roads or the lack of infrastructure. So one last video of the team that I work with and some of our experiences in doing our work. we all survive. Yeah, we're drying our clothes.
Arab yaga ayaa iswalwaale.
So, that's basically what we do. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed. And now I would like to invite you for questions and comments, please.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It's actually a very brave work you're doing over there. I got some specific questions. One regarding the funding. Who are you funded by? Another one is concerning the security. It's perhaps over-exaggerated in the Western media, although I don't think so. The fact that even the news agencies are at risk when they are in Somalia. I mean, there were some foreign journalists who got killed in Mogadishu, so I don't know the situation in the rest of the country. And also, I'm particularly interested in the Ruckle project and the way you dealt with from one community to the other, meaning the usual directly the film you had from one community to the other, or you were kind of filtering the images, or perhaps you weren't showing it at all and it was just the initiative that counted. Thank you.
You're welcome. In terms of the funding, the MAVU project is funded by the International Peace Building Alliance, Interpeace, as well as the EU and our German partners. So that's regarding the funding for MAVU. Regarding the security, it's not exaggerated. The security conditions are very fragile. So it's not Mogadishu. Mogadishu is on a different level. But we've been able to open up offices as far as we opened up a branch in Mali in April. We have another branch in Hargeisa, Somaliland. They actually were able to use the same back and forth blanketed peace recordings that we do, and they resolved the huge conflict in Somaliland. But regarding the security situation in Puntland, PDRC, the organization that I work for, we've lost several people, not MAVU, but the organization itself. But the last 2-3 years, we've been seeing that the security situation is getting a lot better, and we remain optimistic. In terms of the regions and districts, every trip that we take, we have security personnel with us. But it's Somalia, so yeah. But it's good. Everything's okay. So yeah.
Sorry, just concerning the last question,
Yeah.
regarding the logistics in the Ruckle project, do you directly show the film which you made from community A to community B and vice versa?
You mean when we go back and forth?
Yeah.
Yeah, we show. You mean the specific messages or logistics in terms of?
Yeah, the messages of the community.
We show the full messages, but we make sure that the messages are going to assist in an overall goal of resolving the conflict. Obviously, there are going to be spoilers and people who say things in the microphone who don't want peace. But we look at, the greater picture, and those are the messages that we show to both communities. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hi,
Hi.
I grew up in Kenya, so I just wanted to ask, considering Al-Shabaab's and Kenya's conflict, do you think having such videos in maybe towns that are on the border of Somalia from Kenya would help reduce the growing xenophobia? Because with all the bombings and all the terrorist attacks, there are anti-Somalian sentiments that are coming across really strongly. So do you think such film displays could help reduce that?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think that these film forums have proven to be an effective tool for all kinds of awareness. So xenophobia in terms of, I don't know how MAVU would be able to work along the border due to logistical challenges right now. But yeah, definitely. I agree with you that if those opportunities were to present itself, that MAVU would be a good tool to use. Definitely, yeah.
I was interested if you could. We didn't see much of the film,
Okay.
obviously, that that you're showing to
Okay.
these groups.
Okay.
So I don't know what the tactics are, but from seeing explosions, I kind of assume that maybe it's showing negative side to piracy.
Yeah.
So how is that received? Is the purpose so people don't so resist recruitment for these kind of groups?
Yeah. At that time, the piracy awareness occurred in two stages. One in 2011, late 2011, early 2012, and that's when pirates were actually being harbored by these communities. Strong footholds. So what we wanted to do is show these communities the local and global consequences of them harboring pirates, and that's those small clips that you saw over there, and that was what basically changed social perceptions towards piracy in 2012. Now, in 2015, in October, we received news that the threat of piracy is returning. We found out that the same coastal districts that we visited in 2011 were considering engaging in the same activities because of rampant illegal fishing and foreign trawlers. So we went back and we, this time, looked at it as more of a preventative measure and an overall assessment. And we stayed there for about a month. And we conducted a different kind of awareness campaign. But in March of this year, we're actually holding a huge conference where we're bringing all these coastal districts and maritime organizations and the UN as well to try to address this illegal fishing problem before piracy actually returns. But the threat still exists. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello. Thanks for your brilliant presentation. And I have to say also that your behind-the-scenes video, helped to remind me of the treacherous road conditions in my home country in Gambia. But my question is, I just want to find out from you whether the fragmentation of Somalia, as in Puntland's attempt to become independent, is helping or hindering your effort to build peace.
Okay. Puntland considers itself a part of Somalia. Puntland is the first federal state. It's the mother of federalism in Somalia. Somaliland, on the other hand, is the region that considers themselves independent of Somalia. So it's not necessarily Puntland. But I don't think that any political issues between regions and the central or federal government have any impact or effect on our work. We deal with grassroots awareness. We're dealing with local communities and districts in the most remote and rural areas. So, you know, those guys are up on the top, we're all the way on the bottom. So yeah, we're good. All right.
More questions? Yes.
Using your case study, I'd like to know, I know there's no formula for getting it right, but when it has worked really well, what are the recurring things that you've done to make that happen? And then maybe when it hasn't worked well, what maybe have you changed in the way you work?
It's a learning process. There's a lot of things that we're always evolving, but there are certain components that we've seen work real well, such as these blanketed peace messages between feuding clans. We've also incorporated another tool that's been really effective, which is that we include journalists in our field work. So because these communities are so remote and so off the tarmac road and isolated, inaccessible by the government and the international community, when we include journalists during our field work, and journalists record news items and programs about these community concerns, and they broadcast it on a national and international level, that's been a really effective tool in these communities getting exactly what they need the fastest way possible. So there are several different tools that we've been able to use. I have a guidebook. I'd be more than happy to share it with you. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Please join me in our sincere gratitude to Mr. Isahak Ahmed.